In 2015, Hayley Kiyoko released the Girls Like Girls music video. And 8 years later, the book by the same name was released in 2023. Now, in the year 2026, the movie adaptation is coming out on June 19th. After the trailer dropped, I went ahead and decided to finally read the book, and I want to talk about my thoughts and opinions of it, and discuss things I look forward to or I hope will be changed in the movie. But before I continue, I would just like to say that if you like these kinds of videos, then please subscribe. I like to take a look at different TV shows or movies on the channel, so if that's something that you're interested in, join along. The synopsis of the book is as follows. It's summertime, and 17-year-old Coley has found herself alone, again. Forced to move to rural Oregon after just losing her mother, she is in no position to risk her already fragile heart. But when she meets Sonia, the attraction is immediate. Coley worries she isn't worthy of love. Up until now, everyone she's loved has left her, and Sonia has never been with a girl before. What if she's too afraid to show up for Coley? What if by opening her heart, Coley's risking it all? They both realize that when things are pushed down and feelings are forced to shrivel away, Coley and Sonia will be the ones to shrink. It's not until they accept the love they fear and deserve most that suddenly the song makes sense. Now, there's already a lot to be said off the synopsis alone, but I actually want to start off with talking about the music video that was released in 2015. First of all, the story behind the creation of it is pretty amazing in and of itself. Apparently, Hayley Kiyoko had a chance to use her last $5,000 in savings to either try and make a cinematic music video or to commission a remix for Girls Like Girls that would hopefully pop off in the mainstream. We know the decision she made based on the fact that I am even talking about this right now, but it really goes to show what trusting in your vision and the message you have to share can do for you. Other than that, my relationship to the music video is a pretty personal one, like I'm sure it is for plenty of people as well. But one of my favorite things about it is there is a narrative being told, and as a viewer, you were able to fill in those blanks. I don't know much about these characters, but I'm able to dive into this world and construct a story based on the limited information I'm given. I didn't even know their names until the end credits. For example, when I watched the music video the first 10 times, my thought was Coley and Sonia are two people who are childhood friends, but there was always something between them that they couldn't quite pinpoint. And as they got older, it was clear what they felt, and it was something that was going to eventually bubble over. However, they were clearly dealing with internal and societal pressures that just made it more difficult to come out. Like, I had a whole background in my head on who these people were and what this relationship meant to them. Was there any indication that they were childhood friends? No, but in my head, that's how I made a connection. So it's interesting when a book comes out, since now we are clearly having a story laid out for them and what their thoughts and actions meant and who they are to each other in a more clear way, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Honestly, I'm pretty neutral about it. Even though the book has the bones and clear connections to the music video with certain scenes, I have a clear line in my head that says that they are separate entities, even though I know that they're not. I could talk endlessly about the music video and why I love it, but I should get back to the book. So let's start with... Coley and Sonia are the main characters we're following, but it's mainly Coley's perspective in the book. We get the most insight into her life and her feelings throughout everything. The only time Sonia's feelings get more time is when we are reading through her live journal entries. I forgot to mention that this is set in 2006, and it might as well qualify as a period piece if we're going to be talking about live journal entries. Either way, there are public entries where she puts on a front for everyone, and private entries where we get her true feelings of confusion, frustration, anger, and the whole 9 yards, really. I really wish the book had a more dual perspective to it, meaning that we switch perspectives, one chapter Coley, one chapter Sonia, because as important as it is to understand Coley's feelings, the book really needed to make me understand why I should be more sympathetic towards Sonia and their budding relationship, because there were a lot of times that I was confused why their attachment was so strong. The relationship didn't get the progression that it needed, and it made rooting for them kind of difficult at some points. Not to say that Coley's characterization was perfect either. There were plenty of times when I found myself rolling my eyes at some of the internal dialogue. Like, there was genuinely a not like other girls comment in there early on in the book. But then I also had to remember that this is a very angsty teenager who has been through way too much at such a young age, and I honestly think calling her an angsty teenager is a disservice to her character, so my bad. but the dialogue, internal and external, felt very stilted at some points. Also, every character who is not Coley or Sonia really don't have much of a personality at all. They have very simple characterizations, so you know exactly who they're supposed to be in the story and what purpose they're supposed to have to further the plot, making them very one-dimensional. That's not to say that they should have more focus on them or anything like that, because the story is about Coley and Sonia, and they are really the only two characters that I care about, except for Curtis, but I'll get onto Curtis in a minute. Now, if there is one character I would have loved to see more of, it would have been Faith. She is someone from Sonia's past that came out as a lesbian, and it really shook Sonia. It's clear that Sonia has a distaste for her whenever she's brought onto the page, but it also feels more like projection. And I think it would have done well for Sonia's character and the audience for them to interact more, or even just see more of Faith in general, to understand why Sonia is afraid of coming to terms with her feelings. It is stated in the book that when Faith came out, her family was torn apart, and that thought alone paralyzes Sonia where she is. Another character I did like was Curtis, Coley's dad. He genuinely seemed like he was trying his best to be a parent to Coley, and Coley's apprehension was understandable considering he hasn't been in her life since she was like 30 years old. But their progression together was one of the better executed storylines in my opinion. But if there is something the book really struggles with, it would be... I know it just seems like I'm gonna be complaining this whole time, but that really isn't my intention. Whenever I find movies, books, and TV shows that I really enjoy, or want to enjoy, I can't help but be a little bit more critical of it. So, moving along, when it comes to pacing, this book feels all over the place. Again, the only storyline I felt was paced decently was Curtis and Coley kindling a new father-daughter bond. But when it comes to Coley and Sonia, things are very hot and cold and on and off, which, to be fair, makes complete sense. They're both treading territory that is not only completely new to them, but also completely terrifying when it comes to what it means for them personally. This isn't news, but being gay in 2006 wasn't exactly easy. And I know I said it before, but I really think this could have been alleviated a bit if we got more from Sonia's perspective specifically. To really delve into her feelings and her internalized homophobia would have been so beneficial to her character. I understand her character because I've been there. I know what it's like to be there. I know what it's like to hate yourself for it. I get it. But to really give it the time it deserved would have been great. And maybe I'm speaking on that from such a personal perspective because, like I said, I do get it. That's not to say Coley's perspective wasn't important, because to be that strong and brave in the face of a world that isn't willing to understand you is incredible. Believe it or not, I am really excited for this movie. Like I said in the beginning, I will be seated to watch. Whether it's a masterpiece or mediocre isn't really relevant to me, if I'm being honest. I'm just happy to see more queer, and to be more specific in this case, lesbian stories being told on the big screen. It might have sounded like I was complaining for the majority of the time, but I really do believe the movie could right some of the issues the book had. Visual storytelling is very different from written storytelling, and if Hayley Kiyoko could make the Girls Like Girls music video in 2015 be that good, then I can only hope for the same with the movie.